It's good to see you. You know, many people experience the dark night of the soul on their spiritual awakening journey. And, you know, it just happens, and there's absolutely nothing that we could do about it. We're actually going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to evolve from the experience of the dark night of the soul. It's a very important topic that we're all going to discuss today. And now humanity as a whole is going through a dark night of the soul. This is the experience of living through the rapture. And this is going to be a very important message today. And if you haven't done so already, please smash the like button. It helps others find this message. And we're going to have a live experience, a real life story. And we have a lot to share today. We're going to talk about the dark night of the soul in general. Many people that are on the spiritual awakening journey, they deal with the dark night of the soul. And I've done many videos about that. And we're going to apply that to humanity as a whole in this message. What is the spiritual awakening aspect behind this? What happens to our body? What happens to our spirit, our soul? We're going to be talking about mental health awareness. We're going to be talking about experiences that we actually have on our real life journey. You know, I do that a lot on our live Zoom meetings. If it calls you and you would like to join our Patreon, we have live Zoom meetings where we could really get into detail about these first-hand experiences, these real life experiences. You know, you might hear these stories, and then when we all collaborate, when we all get together and you realize, oh, well, these people are actually experiencing it. This is a real life story. Then it all of a sudden, it all starts to make sense. You know, some people, they might be in denial that we're actually in the rapture right now, but we actually are in the rapture. And by the end of this message today, we're going to understand and overstand that the rapture is real. See, the dissonant frequencies just went away. You know, we're actually under a lot of pressure. We're actually in a lot of disharmonious frequencies that throw us off, and the will beats the skill. We have to perform at our finest in inopportune conditions. You know, I'm in a major city, and right now, as I'm a little late if you're watching on the live stream, right as I'm preparing to start the live stream, they decide to, they're doing some work in the sewers over here. So I don't know if the mic was picking up that noise, but it was dissonant and it was throwing me off, and I had to stay focused on what I'm creating right now. And a lot of us have to do this. There's a lot of sick, satanic things that are being thrown your way. This is a real life experience to, you know, show you all how you have to really, you have to stay focused and don't allow distractions to throw you off your path. There's going to be a lot of distractions, and you're going to say, you know, I'm just going to fall back to the way things were. And, you know, yesterday on my journey, I realized that, you know, what I've said, that this reality is about to change and it will never be the same again. I actually realized that reality and life will never be the same. And there's actually a mourning process behind this. You know, I'm back in my hometown, and I'm just realizing that we can never go back to the old life. And, you know, it's being totally dismantled at this time period. And yeah, we're creating a better future. We're going to be talking about our kids. We're going to be talking about our children in this real life episode today. This is going to be a very powerful, real life, everyday life episode. The dark night of the soul for humanity. The experience of actually living through the rapture. And some people might have stumbled across this message, and you might have had a vision that the rapture, half the population was going to just disappear in a flash. And it might not be just one flash, but we're living in the days, you know, half the population is disappearing. And when you realize it because the truth cannot be told. Like someone can't just go out there and tell you, oh, we're in the rapture and you know, people are disappearing. But you have to actually realize it. And when you actually realize it through firsthand experience, it's actually, it's very overwhelming. So, you know, just give me a 5x5. We got good sound now. I don't know if that was, that sound was being picked up on the mic. But you know what? You have to move through it. You have to move through it. And that's the real life. You know, sometimes God puts me in these rough situations. I'm about to start the live stream and the noise, the dissonance starts. But what God is doing to Michael is showing me what I have to teach the people. You know, I'm the teacher of the new earth, if you didn't know this by now. You know, so we're rapidly seeing the dismantling of the old and the rising of the new. So I gave everyone enough time to get on. If you haven't done so, please smash the like button. If it calls you through free will, of course, why don't you subscribe to the channel? Click the bell next to subscribe and select all. We are actually living through the rapture as a society, and this is a very important community and channel where we have daily videos to help you get through this time period. Bay Area believer, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's my honor to do this. I really appreciate the support. And, you know, we have group chats on Telegram and Discord. And if it calls you, if you'd like to join our Patreon, we have live Zoom meetings and more uncensored content for you. It's really helpful. The Zoom meetings are really helpful. And you could see all of the recordings from all of our past Zoom meetings are saved on Patreon. If you'd like to join, the link is in the description. It's very important at this time. But what we actually are learning through this channel is we're not only going to survive the rapture, we're actually going to thrive in the end days. A lot of people have been, you know, tuning in to our messages in our channel, and what we're actually learning is not only are we surviving this, we're actually thriving this. Write it in the chat. We're thriving. The end days are not the end days for you. We're actually thriving in the end days. They even said it biblically, something like the meek shall inherit the earth. You're actually not meek, but you know, because of the dominion over the old cult, you know, they said the meek shall inherit the earth. What that meant was that common everyday life people, the regular folk. You know about the regular folk? the real people with souls. Do you know about the real people are actually going to inherit the earth, and each and every one of us are going to be leaders in our own way, new leaders of the new earth. So you're actually going through your trials and tribulations at this time in order to strengthen you. God is making a beautiful diamond out of you because we're going into dark days. Maybe not dark days for you, but as we go through this message, we're going to realize how dark the upcoming year is going to be. And that's not a message of fear. It's actually a message of understanding, you know, how come, you know, half is going to have one experience and half is going to have a different experience. So a lot of this has to deal with the dark night of the soul. I know a lot of people, they don't want to let go. They're actually, Juno Joe, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Juno. Really grateful for you. The dark night of the soul is important. I've done many videos about the dark night of the soul on my journey here on YouTube. And the dark night of the soul is an essential, it's actually an essential part of the spiritual awakening journey. It actually helps you embody who you actually are and your mission, what you came here to do. We actually came here for a soul's mission. We didn't come here to just follow whatever the Matrix told us to do. So it is part of the spiritual awakening journey, and I do have full videos on the dark night of the soul if you'd like to check them out on the channel page. But to simplify it for this lesson today, it's a dark period when your life has fallen apart. The ego takes a hit. Boom! Right? God says, right? Like Tyson said, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. So like even on my journey, I had like that first one I would actually call a mini dark night of the soul. Before I actually started creating this channel, God said, yeah, Mike, we're going to give you a little bang right to your ego, Mike. And many of you might experience this on your journey. And according to your soul, who are you truthfully at your core? You are going to evolve through the dark night of the soul. Oh, everyone's coming in for this one. Terry Oliver, thank you so much, Terry. I love you, Terry. It's my honor to do this. I'm grateful for all of you. So your ego is going to take a hit so that your soul, right? You're being cracked down, and then your soul actually shines brightly. You're going to shine bright like a diamond. So you actually, seriously though, Lynn Roberts, thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you for being authentic. I appreciate that, Lynn. It's actually my honor to be authentic. I have a phrase: in a world full of fake, have the courage to be authentic. Write it down. Write it down. That's a quote from Michael. There you go. It's really a fake world. Have the courage to be authentic. I had courage in, maybe you guys will have courage in certain aspects of your life. You have to have courage to walk away from your satanic matrix job, your satanic relationships. If you missed last week, we talked about the black hole beings that siphon you also know them as narcissists. They're actually real. Some people are the love and lighters out there. They say, don't talk about the narcissists. They probably are the narcissists themselves. Got to wake up now to the reality that we're living in. So the ego is going to take a hit, and you might go through a period of your life where you go through severe depression. On my journey, I'm hearing some of this from my brothers and sisters and family members, and I'm saying, oh, this person is going through the dark night of the soul now. Oh, that person is going through the dark night of the soul now. And, in order to be an authentic leader and teacher, I had to go through the dark night of the soul myself. And, you actually might go through multiple dark nights of the soul. And I went through this in detail in a previous video. So, if you say, oh, I already had a dark night of the soul, why am I getting it? Because you're here for a greater mission. Like again, people think this is all unicorns and rainbows. They see me, they say, oh, he's got it all. But honestly, right? But again, our soul has to achieve the highest timeline at this time. God is literally relying on you. And I shared this as Michael many times to the people that are listening to this transmission. Not only do you have faith in God, God has faith in you. We're actually in an extinction event right now, and God has faith in all of you during the rapture that humanity will survive the extinction event. The dark night of the soul gives you severe depression when you don't want to even live anymore. If you're listening to this message, and we share about mental health awareness, the dark night of the soul is a major part of the spiritual awakening journey. And you feel like you don't want to live anymore. Is that you? And if you feel like it, you could even share it in the comments. Or if you lived through the dark night of the soul personally, you should, if it calls you, share comments about it, because it actually helps others. We don't want people falling to mental health problems. This was a part of the satanic cult. Remember that free will is the law of the universe. They actually tried to make reality so unlivable that they tricked people into taking their own lives and repeat the cycle, and they siphon the energy. This is called loosh. Learn about the satanic cult. We of Liberty and Freedom, thank you so much. I am noticing more and more time lapses. I mentioned in one of your other video comments, the clock jumped from 3 to 3:15, just a few seconds. Thank you, We Have Liberty. Yes, we've been talking about the quickening. That's probably the quickening that you shared. And, you know, we're living in the rapture right now. So for the sake of the elect, God is actually shortening the days. There's so much energy because linear time is fake. There's a massive amount of energy right now. You know, since the event started in 2020, which has been, now it's probably, what, 2.5 years? It feels like maybe like a little bit over a year. Think about it. Think about when the event really started. Hasn't it gone by so fast? It's crazy. So humanity as a whole is going through the dark night of the soul for humanity. I myself, like many of you, you might know people, they put their heads down, they go back to work. But it's not going to be done for us. They know that there's a lot of wrongfulness going on in the world. You know, who's going to save us? Who's going to come down from the sky and save us? Ain't no one coming to save you. You will save yourself. We're in an extinction event. And until you wake up to this reality, you will constantly be beaten down by the dark night of the soul. You know, I'm sharing from firsthand experience. I came here for a very important mission. And I went through some dark nights of the soul. I just, I thought this was best for me, God. Why did you give me this? And I'll be the king of authenticity so you can understand this, because guess what, light warriors? Some people just don't want to hear what I have to say. But I'm here to serve in the days of the rapture. And we're going to lead with authenticity. If you get in the authentic message, please smash the like button so that others find this message. On my journey, I thought I knew best. I said, I know the answers. And then God gave me a big whack. And I realized that that dark night of the soul was to put me on the path of greatness. Yeah, the path. And humanity's being put on a path of greatness because a lot of people, they don't want to wake up. I've learned this on my journey because you can't flow versus force. You can't push against the tidal wave. You can't push against God. You know, God, once you have cleansed your DNA, God works through your DNA. And you can't fight against it. I've learned that. So if I see that this is not I got to let it go. Think about it. You're in the ocean, you're swimming, we know about rip currents and stuff. You can't even move. Learn to let go. Ego over ignorance. A lot of people are rooted in the ego at this time, and they're not concerned with their family. They're not concerned about their children. So God will continue to bash and bash this reality until you rise up to greatness. Humanity is going through a dark night of the soul right now. Even myself, and I said, I just, I'm back in my hometown. I said, what happened to everything? What happened? I'm shaking. I'm sharing it, and I'm still like, there's a part of me that's, we can't go back. We can't go back until humanity wakes up. You want to go back to having fun and doing all these things, it won't happen until the collective wakes up. The collective refuses to wake up. So now we go through the dark night of the soul for humanity. So you might have gone through the dark night of the soul personally. So it's important for you to share with our brothers and sisters that are getting beaten down right now. Hiva, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. It's my honor to do this. Thank you. You have to realize the importance. Some people say, oh, it's a spiritual war, so on and so forth. It's all about subconscious programs. This war is fought on a different plane. It's in a different dimension. It is. And, through firsthand experience, I really, yesterday was not a dark night of the soul for me. It was almost a realization like, holy shift, like this really is happening. I heard stories. I heard, people talk about it, in other videos. I listen to all my brothers and sisters as well. And yesterday, I was sitting on the beach with a good friend of mine. And I realized this really is the rapture. So, it's, and after that I spoke to a couple of my friends and ensuring them that they made the right decision. And it's, listening to, because I've been disconnected for the Matrix. It's almost been a year, Light Warriors. I have my freedom for about a year. It's a freedom now. It's freedom. And I'm grateful for all of you. You guys all are giving me my freedom. It's a positive feedback loop. It's a synergistic relationship with all of you. And so, I had a good friend of mine, and he was also a former coworker of mine. And yesterday, this is why we have to really, we have to share about our firsthand experiences and real life stories, because a lot of people are going through them right now. They're sitting at home and they're not being heard, and they're coming to the realization of these things. And it's really, it's overwhelming. It's difficult to, you say, wow, this is really happening right now. And, combined for the past, 2 weeks, I'm hearing stories, and the two that are firsthand experiences, it really starts to paint the picture, if you will. People are a little bit in denial of the rapture. And so I'm sitting with my friend, and he's telling me all about the past year, and I'm hearing so many stories about a place that was supposed to be so much fun for kids, and it's a literal nightmare right now. I heard so many terrible stories of a place that sounds so foreign to a person that spent 17 years of his life. And so, I had coworkers, and no one really calls or texts anymore. And I don't blame anyone, because the energy is so dense right now. Everyone is literally in survival mode. Like, you might be on your journey, and I know people, they say, oh, no one calls or texts anymore. For me, it's understandable, because I know what's really going on. So don't take it personal at this time. So I'm really like, I have no clue. I had no clue what was going on. And he says that this person that was a coworker of mine died. I said, she died? And it just, someone I worked with for so many years, and, she's just a few years older than me. And it's really, it's eerie. I had a bunch of coworkers that formed a department. That department is now destroyed. Obviously, I was unlawfully fired from my job, so I'm not there to lead. My friend that passed away, she was a leader as well. People also left. The department is destroyed. There is no more science department. And I learned this yesterday through this story. And it's really, you know, I can reflect on the fun times that we had, and, you know, hearing the stories yesterday that I heard, it's really a, you know, it is a, I guess, a dark night of the soul for me, because, you know, but what it also, it really, it shows me the importance of what I'm doing. I'm actually creating a new school. You don't see it today, but since future proves past, you'll say, oh, Michael created a new school for everyone. And so, but these are the tough times that we have to go through. You know, it's a dark night of the soul for humanity. And so now I hear this, and I shared this last week on our Zoom meeting, this past weekend on our Zoom meeting. If you'd like to, again, join our Zoom meetings, the Patreon link is in the description. And I shared that the other day, my sister, who also was unlawfully fired from her job, she had to attend the funeral for her former student. So yesterday, you know, when we think of the rapture, you know, there is no saying, just like, you know, we put things on age, or, you know, we talk about all these things, like this is the age of the rainbow warriors. You know, we're all different ages, races, religions, genders. So, you know, I, you know, learned about, you know, a teacher now and a student, a young student, dead. And so as a society, we're going through a dark night of the soul. And, you know, it is, I've heard stories about like how it's going to play out and stuff. And even myself, I'm in denial. I'm saying, no, it's not going to, how could this I'm like, nah, it can't happen. So, you know, you have to start realizing this. You know, we shared on our Zoom meeting that celebrities are a microcosm of the world itself. Celebrities are a microcosm of the world itself. As scientists, because we're the scientists now, you know, we use data, you know, we look at these things, and we discussed on our Zoom meeting that, you know, if it's unbelievable how many in the past year celebrities have passed away. And celebrities represent, they're just like a selection of society. They are a microcosm of society as a whole. So, you know, we don't hear about the common everyday life people. We don't hear about the child that just died. We don't hear about the teacher that just died. We kind of only hear about the false idols that die. And, you know, as we discussed, if it's gone up like so much, like triple the amount that normally pass, we're going through an extinction event, and we're going to see an increase of total deaths. So biblically, they talked about this time period as the rapture. And, you know, there's many different forms of the rapture, since we're on different timelines. And, you know, on my journey, I was raptured out of the matrix. And it was a blessing. It was really a blessing. Because after hearing the story that my friend and former coworker shared with me, what was a familiar place to me, which was a fun place to me, is a dangerous place right now. And it's a dangerous place for children. And the stories that I heard were so foreign to me, for a place that was so loving. And to hear what I heard, it's crazy. It's crazy. We are living under dissonance right now, right? So these disharmonious frequencies, they're shaking up our body. You know, we're living in a fake matrix, and we're actually not supposed to be under so much suffering. Lemon, thank you so much. Thank you for educating us. It's my honor to educate each and every one of you. That's what we're creating now. I'm taking my best there is skills, and now I share them with the people instead of a satanic system. That's why you're raptured. You say to yourself, oh, why did this happen to me? You know what, in October, you know, it's the days were creeping up to October 1st. They said, you better do this, human. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. So at that time period, you know, the dark night of the soul says, oh, I'm going to lose all this and that and so on and so forth. But I was actually saved, right, by God, and was put in this position to serve during the rapture. This is called spiritual World War III. You got to wake up, son. So humanity is going through a dark night of the soul. And, you know, there's going to be different experiences that people will have as we go through this time period. And the sooner you let go of your ego, that's the importance of the dark night of the soul. The sooner you let go of your ego and you embrace your soul, you will thrive during the total collapse of society. But there are people that are rooted in the ego, and they need to be right. It's more important for them to be right in their ego than do the right thing for our brothers and sisters and our children. If this message resonates with you, please smash the like button. It's going to help others find this message. So the dark night of the soul is a very important part of our spiritual awakening journey, and the collective humanity is going to get a big blast of the dark night of the soul. I mean, the most, you know, relevant time period was 9/11. You know, we went through a dark night of the soul. Many people passed away. 9/11, people got stronger. They came back together. They came back together. And that's what we're all about. But it's going to be different. It's going to be on a much more massive scale. And it's not what we're going to be, what we expected. You know, sometimes on our journey, because of programs, they say, oh, there's going to be an atomic bomb explosion. Like sometimes we think about these things in our minds, right? We say, oh, what happens? A big atomic bomb goes off, right? An asteroid comes crashing into the planet. But it's not going to be what we expected. And like a Thanos snap, a large portion of the population is gone. It's the frog in the pot. It will be a tremendous day for a picnic. We shared about the 3 days of darkness. And, you know, I know a lot of you heard this. Some people might be new to the channel. You know, people, if you didn't know this, people called 911 a couple years ago when Facebook went down. They couldn't get on their internet. They couldn't get on their social media. And simple things like that might be the end of the world for some people. It's funny, but it's a true story. So can you imagine a 3 days of darkness with no internet and TV? TV. It's time to wipe the crud from your eyes, child. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Smell the coffee. Get up. Get up, son. But some people don't. They're getting triggered, Ronnie. They're getting triggered. I know them. Some people don't want to wake up. They just say, we're going back to normal. Spirit science, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It is spirit science. That's what we actually do here. We take spirituality and science and we merge it together into a beautiful ball. It's true. And you really got to learn about the dark night of the soul. It's also a big part of mental health awareness. We're seeing this across the board. I know the NFL is doing a lot to share about the mental health, because a lot of, especially men, oh, I can't talk about my feelings. If you're a man and you're connected to this channel, it's really important to share about your feelings. Don't listen to the satanic cult. We are able to talk about our feelings at this time period. What is normal, Kenny, right? It's crazy. What they told you was normal was a collection of subconscious programs. Cheddar Biscuit, thank you so much. Fist bump to you, Cheddar Biscuit. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep serving. And, this really is the dark night of the soul for humanity. So, yeah, listen, who knows how it's going to play out? There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But what we are going through right now is a rapture where a large portion of the population will disappear. And, it's to the extent of how it plays out, it might be very, very alarming to people. It's very, it's a shock to the system to find out, people that are gone. And, I shared this, there's a major quote: society is judged by how they treat their most vulnerable. It's a major blow when children start dying. My sister, she's a very big empath. She's tiny, but she's a big empath. She was very upset, very crying, and mourning the death of her former student. And I'm sure people are hearing this right now, but these are the things that we have to start to discuss, because you can't just bottle it up right now. And so on my journey to learn about dead teachers and dead students, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I need to talk about it, and you need to talk about it, right? We all need to talk about it, because if we bottle up this energy, it's very overwhelming, and we carry this density with us, and it's going to mess up our experience of our life. And it's a beautiful time period, but it's also a very... Selena, thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. You're much appreciated. Thank you so much, Selena. I appreciate you. This is the stuff we need to talk about. And if this is stuff that you want to talk about mental health, you want to talk about, things that we're going to have to deal with it in the upcoming days, because we had a timeline pinnacle moment, and humanity said no. So now God is going to give us the dark night of the soul. And if you want to talk more into detail, if you'd like to join our Patreon and Zoom meetings, a lot of people shared out real life stories. It's important. There's a lot of them, S-Coop. You got to be careful. And, we're waking up to that. So that's what this, if they're still not waking up, God is going like this, right? Shaking. There's no light. Yeah, there's no light inside. It's a real, and people, you're crazy. Just like how they said, I was crazy about the Mandela effect. I was one of the first people. I think the Mandela effect is a lot more popular at this time. It's actually evidence of the rapture. The Mandela effect. You're not crazy. You're sealed in the forehead for this time period. They said it will go around the elect. So even though we're experiencing dark times, it's scary, it's just going to go right around you. Real Liberty, thank you so much. I used to have severe anxiety, But it's been completely gone now for over a year. I quit my meds and it stayed gone. Amazing, because it was really bad. I'm very grateful for that, We Are Liberty. Listen, even on my journey, I had a little bit of anxiety. I could never, come in front of all these people. There's tens of thousands of people that are going to hear this message. Ooh, years ago, one day millions of people are going to hear this message. And, when I did I recently shared my world famous, my very first video. I look like a deer in headlights. Remember that video, guys? Remember that video? So, we're being strengthened right now. You're getting it. Like, I had a dark night of the soul right before I did that. And what it does is it lights a fire inside of you. And you said, I need to do this now. I need to stand up. So since humanity didn't stand up last year, we're going to have a dark night of the soul now. So humanity gets the dark night of the soul, and then they stand up now. Even on my journey, right? Each and every one of you might be experiencing this, right? You have a dark night of the soul, and you say, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. And then you start working for God now. You start working for God. So, that's the power that you have to embrace at this time. Madeline, if you're unfamiliar with the Mandela effect, please go to the channel page. I have a full playlist. I just did a video. The Mandela effect is probably the most important thing to help people wake up that the reality that we're in is fake. And don't be scared of it. It actually, some people are terrified of the Mandela effect. But it actually empowers you, because then you realize that you're a creator of this universe. You have powers that you never saw your powers. The cult, hid them from you. The cult hid them from you. You're a powerful being. You're very powerful. And now it's time to take back our power. And we're able to do this after we go through dissonance, after we go through uncomfortable situations. It's called the dark night of the soul. Yeah, raise your hand if you're working for God now. I work for God. Yeah. So I want you to stay focused on what you're creating, because humanity is going through a dark night of the soul. Please share on this video link if you're watching on the live stream. Come back after this live stream is over and leave a comment on this video on your experience of the dark night of the soul for humanity. I shared a couple of experiences I had this week. It's really important that as a collective, this is hashtag mental health awareness. We have to share how we feel about living through the rapture, experiencing people die. What does this mean to us? How is it going to play out? It's important because emotion is energy and motion. And if we keep the emotions inside, that energy that's in motion, it's going to then cause dis-ease, right? Disease. It's dis-ease in your cells. You got to let the emotions out. So I hope that this message is helpful for you to understanding and overstanding that humanity is going through the dark night of the soul. Collectively, we're going to experience, who knows? Who knows? Maybe things will actually work out and it'll actually stop, but I'm not in control of this. It's only free will. Yes, that is a Mandela effect. Please visit the channel page if you don't know about Mandela effects, or if you've never seen any of my very important messages on the Mandela effect. It will wake you up, and share it with your friends. It's going to wake you up. It's a great thing to share with friends to really get you to start questioning reality. Everything's changing now, and it will never be the same again. If you find this message interesting and you would like to learn more about our reality in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, why don't you click subscribe, give the video a like so it becomes visible to more people, and please share with one other person, because when we all share with one other person, we will rapidly grow our 5D community. Harley Ray 1111, thank you so much. Thank you for keeping us grounded and helping us through the rapture. It's my honor to do this. We're all serving in spiritual World War III. We're all serving in different ways and methods. According to our skills, we're the rainbow warriors of the Hopi prophecy. We all have different abilities. I'm grateful for all the support. I'm very grateful for the support on Patreon. Please, if it calls you to consider joining Patreon and be part of our Zoom meetings live, or if you just want to watch all of the uncensored content that we have stored, they're all on Patreon. Grateful for all the support. The link is pinned above. Anything is appreciative, and we're working for ourselves now. We're not working for the system. And through the stories that I heard and I shared with other friends that made the same decision that I made last year, I'm very grateful that I made the decision to be with God at this time. Not only will you survive the rapture, you will thrive during the rapture. And it's my honor to teach you through real life and firsthand experiences how you will thrive and not only survive, but thrive during the rapture. I love you all. Please share this message. I did the new setup again. I hope that the stream was clear, and please go to the channel and check out all our live streams and messages out in nature. It's tremendous. We got the nature back here, Light Warriors. Oh yeah, we got the nature. I love you all. Bye for now.